What is going on, you beautiful bastards? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, consider subscribing. So today we have a bunch of news items to dive into. Everything will be listed down below in the timestamps, but I'm not going to waste any of your time. Let's go ahead and hop into the first story here. We're going to be talking about a pretty unfortunate story. In my opinion, it's coming to us from VideoGamesChronicle.com. Sony and Tencent are buying a combined 30% of Elden Ring studio FromSoft. In an official notice published by FromSoft's parent company, Kadokawa Corporation, it was announced that new shares will be issued to Sixjoy Hong Kong, a subsidiary of Tencent and Sony Interactive Entertainment. According to the document, once the shares have been issued, Sixjoy will own 16.25% of FromSoft and Sony will own 14.09%, with Kadokawa continuing to own the remaining 69.66%. In the notice, Kadokawa explains that it recognizes the enhancement of capabilities for the creation, development, and deployment of game IP as one of the group's highest priorities. As such, it decided to allow FromSoft to arrange a third-party allotment to Sixjoy and Sony in order to gain extra funding that may help it publish its own games globally. So that's really the big point there. FromSoft, it took a deal, or a larger deal, because Tencent already had a little bit of stake in the game there. It took a larger deal there, let Tencent gobble up a little bit more of the percentile in order to publish their own games. So FromSoft, they've always been mercs. They've always, go into Activision for Sekiro, go into PlayStation for Bloodborne, going to Bandai for Elden Ring and for Dark Souls. And so they've been mercs. You know what I mean? They and nothing wrong with that at all. But this just really sucks with it being Tencent. Tencent is, for those of you who don't know, they are becoming quickly the #1 leader in the games publishing space and just the games revenue space. They make ridiculous money. They are the sole owner of Riot. They own the damn team who made Back 4 Blood, the Turtle Rock. They own a huge percentage of, I shouldn't say a huge percentage, I think they own like 40% of Epic. And they have their tendrils in a lot of different pies. And not to mention, they have their tendrils in a lot of pies outside of gaming. And they have invested in stuff like Spotify and Tesla and Snapchat. And they're a huge investor, and they make crazy money. One of the more profitable companies in the world, and they are continuing to grow. And all of that is fine. The problem becomes that Tencent is controlled by the Chinese government. And when you have a company like Tencent investing heavily into your company, that means that they are wanting that they have an agenda that they're trying to push. They have certain things that they would like or like you not to put into your product or into your media. And it just creates a real issue. Kind of imagine it this way. If you were working with a company that was controlled by the American government and everything that you put out had to be okayed by the American government, not a lot would come out, because pretty much all art is somehow a critique, especially Western developed art is usually critiquing American society or Western society in some regard. And you don't really get that when your game or when your whatever entertainment piece is being okayed by the Chinese government. And you wouldn't get it if it was having to be okayed by the American government. These people are the top of the top. They don't want anything, any sort of criticism about the goings on of their country. And it's just it's not great to at this point right here at 16%. Can they really have a huge impact on what FromSoft does? Not I wouldn't imagine an incredible impact, but they definitely have some stake in the game, and the worry becomes, do they start climbing further and further? Does that percentage start climbing further and further up? They've already, Sony and Tencent both got a higher stake in the game today. They were both invested already. I'm not sure exactly what the percentage they were invested at before today was, but they, bumped it up a little bit today. Or do they bump it up a little bit again tomorrow? And the higher that percentage gets from Tencent or for Tencent, the worse that is for FromSoft fans. And I see a lot of people online, being mad that Sony is in on the deal and worrying that your FromSoft games are going to be exclusive to PlayStation. It's just like, I get it. There's no real way to be a moralistic consumer in the world at all today, because hell, I mean, I'm using a MacBook and like, Apple is a horrible company, and the clothes we wear are made under horrible conditions, and everything is made under horrible conditions. So I get it in that regard. Like, the only thing that most of us are thinking about on a day-to-day basis is, how does that product improve my life, or how does that help me or make my life more efficient? How can I make my life more efficient with that product, or get some escapism or entertainment through that product? And most of us aren't thinking about what's going on behind the scenes, and I'm not either. Honestly, like, I don't really even give a shit about FromSoft all that much, but I do know that there are millions and millions of FromSoft fans out there who, if this continues and Tencent is continuing to climb that percentage, and that their percentage, their stake in the game gets higher and higher, the worse off that is for FromSoft fans. But what I was saying about the PlayStation thing is that a lot of people are more worried about the FromSoft games going exclusive to PlayStation than they are worried about Tencent's involvement with FromSoft. And I'm just like, man, because I would prefer that PlayStation got 30% of it, and every FromSoft game from now to forever was PlayStation exclusive. If that could have cut Tencent out, I would have preferred if Microsoft got in there at 30%, every game was exclusive to Xbox, if that could have pushed Tencent out. You don't want, and this is definitely a big Tencent issue, because they're the only company right now, or one of the main companies right now, that are directly controlled by the Chinese government, that are having a huge surge in the game space. But this is also my belief with Amazon, with Google, with Apple. Like, I don't want them coming in and buying up huge swaths of these companies either. I would much prefer if Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo stayed at the top and everybody else was, way on the outside, because at least with those three companies, there's a background, there's a track record. You can trust them to some degree. You obviously can't trust them totally, as we're seeing with the Jim Ryan era, as we saw with the Don Matrick era. Like, of course, shit can go down, and the company that you enjoy the products of, the company that you've chosen to support, can end up, putting out dog shit, or just not taking the turn you would prefer. That's always a worry, but it's not a worry that's quite on the level of a Tencent worry. All right, and we will quickly run through this next one. Not a lot to dive into here on this, but it's interesting. It can definitely draw up some speculation here. This is coming from Dark Detective on Twitter. They went through and pulled this annual report from IO Interactive. And on this report, it kind of makes you think that James Bond new game might not be coming out until 2025 or later. As you know, IO Interactive, the people who made the Hitman games, they are making a James Bond game. People are super hyped for it. It got announced November of last year. I can't wait to get my hands on it. But this report says here at the bottom, we had a couple of years with solid revenue and profits due to the launch of a title. There's a risk the next couple of calendar years, the EBI, TDA, and profits will drop. This is due to long production phases ahead before the next releases hit the market. More precisely, fiscal 2024 and 2025 estimates show a significant decrease. So, fiscal 2025 ends in March, and that makes you go, Okay, so James Bond, you set your expectations. James Bond, that new game that was announced in 2020, isn't coming until probably early 2026. That's insane. Absolutely insane that a game was announced in 2020 doesn't come for another 6 years at least. And yeah, but also they have that Project Dragon game in development that's supposed to be an Xbox exclusive. And you got to imagine that one is also not coming until 2026 at least as well. And it's just crazy. You go back and think to the PlayStation 2 days, and of course there was horrible crunch culture that you don't want reintroduced to the modern game development space, where people were sleeping at their offices for months on end and just crunching for those final months of development to get the game shipped. And you don't want that. But you're looking at Grand Theft Auto 3 in 2001, Vice City in 2002, San Andreas in 2004, and now it's like the average. Like I look at Horizon Zero Dawn to Forbidden West, and in my brain, for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, that was a pretty quick turnaround. But you look at it, it's like, oh, wow. Horizon Zero Dawn was 2017. Forbidden West was 2022. That's not quick at all, you know? So, and it's not that it's not quick. It's quick for modern terms, because you look at Grand Theft Auto now, you have GTA 5 2013. We're not going to get another one until 2024, 2025, probably 2026, maybe. So you're looking at over a decade, when those games used to come out on a biannual basis. And yeah, it's just crazy. This is unfortunate for sure. A lot of the stories today are unfortunate, and I apologize for that, but I can't make the news. I just sort of put it together. But yeah, man, James Bond, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see what that game looks like. Hitman with James Bond, make it a little bit more actiony, a little bit more fun, just a more vibrant sort of aesthetic, and having some action pieces where you're driving around, and that shit'll be so sick. I can't wait until we can get our hands on it, but we're not going to get our hands on it for a long time. And staying on topic here of acquisitions, we have NetEase that totally acquired Quantic Dreams. And you'll know it's Quantic Dream, I believe. Quantic Dream, you'll know them from Detroit Become Human, Indigo Prophecy, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls. They are makers of those narrative-based, choose-your-own-adventure style of games. Detroit Become Human being far and away the best one, in my opinion. And yeah, they are now owned by NetEase. And NetEase is another Chinese company where it was founded by a man named Deng Li, who at one point was listed as the richest man in China. He started NetEase as like this bilingual email system and content portal website. And then in 2001, they began publishing games with Fantasy Westward Journey, which is this MMO RPG. And as of late, NetEase is more like focused on the mobile market. But recently they did publish Naraka Blade Point, which is on Game Pass right now, a kind of battle royale, more samurai based battle royale, I believe. And yeah, and they also have that Where Winds Meet game that they are publishing that you will have saw at Gamescom opening night live. And that is the Ghost of Tsushima inspired title. So they're definitely making a play to get more into the core gaming market, if you will. And they seem to be doing that through an acquisition of Quantic Dreams. And it makes you start thinking back to Star Wars Eclipse, which was announced last year, I believe. I'm assuming this narrative-driven Star Wars game made by Quantic Dreams, and you got that CGI trailer that was amazing. It was just a beautiful, beautiful trailer. It wasn't representative of anything at all, because reports later came out that game wasn't going to release until probably 2026 or 2027, because Quantic Dream was having trouble hiring talent. And you would think that this would probably allow them to speed up the development there, hire talent a lot easier with the funding, with the backing of NetEase. And so maybe we actually do see that game at some point. As soon as they said 2026, 2027, I either thought the reports are totally wrong on that, or this game is just probably never going to come out. And I get that the first initial trailer could have been just a a push to hire some talent to like, hey, let's get it out there. Let's use a recruitment trailer to let people know we are working on a Star Wars game. Anybody that wants to come join that is talented and has expertise in these sort of fields. And also the rumor, I forgot about this, is that Star Wars Eclipse game is going to be a little bit more action focused. So maybe they are desperately needing some funding to make this sort of dream project, or to get to get this to fully come together by the time they ship it, and hopefully it'll be 2025 or so, not 2027. I actually do really enjoy Quantic Dream's games. I've played all of them, starting with Indigo Prophecy all the way up, and I've enjoyed pretty much all of them. Some more than others. Detroit Become Human and Indigo Prophecy being my favorites. So yeah, they would I preferred for them to stay independent. They've been independent for like 20 plus years at this point. Yeah, definitely I would prefer that, but here we are. We're in the world of acquisitions. All right, so how about some more negative news? I feel like I'm giving you nothing but negativity, and I do apologize, but here we go. Team Reptile says about the release: we are convinced that releasing the game this year will not take it to a level where we would personally be satisfied with. To create a fulfilling and unique game, we are extending the development time of Bomb Rush Cyberfunk to summer 2023. But we will be dumping a lot more visuals this week to show how it is shaping up. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, delayed until summer of 2023. This game looks spectacular. It's that Jet Set Radio inspired title, and it looks incredible. We're going to have, a significantly longer time to wait here, another year at least, if it doesn't get delayed again. But I'm happy to wait for it, because I do think that, like you're seeing with Rollerdrome and you're seeing with like Ollie World, which both, roll 7 games, but I do think there is a yearning for more arcadey PS2 era games again, and I think that something like this coming along, especially if the whole thing here is that if they can get this out before Sega gets out their Jet Set Radio Future or whatever they end up doing in that universe, because they have said they want to go back to their classic catalog, remaster some of those games and put them back out there. So if Bomb Rush Cyberfunk can hit before Jet Set Radio Future, the remaster, I think they'll be in good business here, because you see something similar with Callisto Protocol and Dead Space Remake. Callisto Protocol being a December release for 2022, Dead Space Remake being a January release for 2023. Both games that are going to appeal to the exact same market. And I think, personally, if you had to gauge like the personal hype meter, I would say, and this is just all anecdotal obviously, but I would think that Callisto Protocol might be ranking a little bit higher for people's anticipation than the Dead Space Remake. And I think a similar thing could happen here, where Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, brand new IP, it's very similar obviously to Jet Set Radio Future, but if you can get it out there before Jet Set Radio Future and people can get their hands on that, a brand new IP, I think you're in business. But releasing it after a remaster of Jet Set Radio Future, I would worry about that a little bit. But summer 2023, I think you might be in business there to get it out before a remaster of any sort of Jet Set Radio stuff from Sega. We shall see, but unfortunate, because I do think the game looks just absolutely excellent. All right, and final story of the day. I've been hitting you over the head with too much negativity. We're going to close off with a somewhat decent story here, at least decent in comparison to what we have gotten in the past. But we have the update for the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium game catalog for September. This is coming from Nebellion over on Twitter, and the games are as follows: Deathloop, Assassin's Creed Origins, Watch Dogs 2, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition, Chicory, Monster Energy Supercross, Alex Kidd in Miracle World, Rabbids Invasion, Rayman Legends, and Scott Pilgrim, as well as new PS Plus Premium Classic games, Siphon Filter 2, The Sly Collection, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, Bentley's Hack Pack, Toy Story 3, and Kingdom of Paradise for the PSP. I think this is a really good I think this is a good September lineup across the board. Deathloop is huge. getting Deathloop on this service is a huge get. I mean, it's not even a game I particularly loved. I finished it. I thought it was solid. I wasn't, losing my mind over it. I remember last year that was like the critics' game, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. But it wasn't like a totally innovative, just groundbreaking experience for me. But it is a really good game, and I think a lot of people might have passed it up. Didn't pay the $60 for it at release or whatever. And I think this is a great time to jump in. I do think this is a good get to have people sign up for your service, check out Deathloop, Assassin's Creed Origins, excellent game. Watch Dogs 2 is actually one I would like to dive into. I'd like to dive into Chicory. There's some good stuff here. But finally, for PlayStation Plus Premium Classics, we actually get something. It's not the greatest, but it's freaking something. We get Siphon Filter 2 for the PlayStation 1. We already have the first game. The second one, I felt like that had to have been an inevitability at some point that we got that. We finally get Siphon Filter 2. The Sly Collection on PS3, it's not where you would want to play or how you would want to play the Sly games. It'd be great if you could just put the damn PlayStation 2 versions on there. Get us the Sly games from the PS2. And let us download them. That way we don't have to stream it through that horrible fucking streaming program. And then it's, the streaming's not the worst thing in the world for older games like that, but still not the way that most people would want to play them. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time for the PlayStation 3. And so at least with Siphon Filter and the Sly Collection, there's a decent little addition there. Toy Story 3 for the PSP and Kingdoms of Paradise for the PSP as well. So not a bad lineup there for PS Plus Extra and Premium this month. This is the first time I feel like, well, with Extra, I think that you're constantly getting pretty good shit. But with Premium, I really do think this is the first time that we've gotten anything remotely decent from Premium outside of that first month. The first month, you had your Resident Evils, you had your Ape Escapes and your Kinetica. You had some good stuff in there, but after that, it's just been completely barren. So at least this is a sign, in my opinion, that this program in its entirety hasn't been abandoned. That was like the main thing that I was concerned about. I'm looking through this each month and I'm seeing nothing for that classic catalog. And I'm like, man, when you meant classic catalog, did you just mean that first, rollout of classic games? I was really worried that we weren't going to get anything else, significant added in to this lineup. So at least, even though this isn't what I would consider like a mind-blowing list here, Siphon Filter 2, Sly Cooper, like there's still some good stuff there that can make you go, okay, at least this seems that this program isn't abandoned and we might get better shit going forward. At least they are still investing in this program, and that's a good sign. Will I be signing back up to Premium? Absolutely hell no, not for that. But I do think that it's a good sign that at some point, maybe we get that Dino Crisis drop, and I'm going to hop my happy ass back in there for $18 a month to play Dino Crisis, even though I have a friggin' copy of it on the PlayStation 1. And then, I don't know. I just like, I would love to be able to play those games on one system. I like the efficiency. I like the practicality of just being able to play what the fuck you want, where the fuck you want to play it. I don't think it's that hard. Well, it probably obviously is that hard, because if it wasn't that hard, all the modern systems would have full backwards compatibility and we'd all be playing whatever the hell we want on whatever systems we want. And dude, I would pay, this is no exaggeration, I would probably pay $1,500 for a fully backwards compatible console. And I know there's emulation devices out there, there's easier ways of doing it, but I want to actually be able to sit on my couch, use my PlayStation 5, put in my damn PlayStation 1 disc, PlayStation 2 disc, PlayStation 3 disc, PlayStation 4 disc, or on the Xbox, pop in the OG Xbox disc, pop in the 360 disc, pop in the Xbox One disc, and put it into my new console. I would pay $1,500 for that shit. I really would. All right, that's enough of my damn rambling. I appreciate you all for tuning in today. Drop in the comments below and let me know what you think about some of these stories. Weigh in on whatever you would like to weigh in on. I would love to hear from you all. And yeah, man, drop a like on the video if you liked it and stay subscribed. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.